Theme: mystery, discovery, and the quiet power of humanity. The artifact was discovered on the edge of the Zeroth expanse, half buried beneath crystalline sands, untouched since the dawn of the stars. It was no ordinary ruin. The alien archaeologists who found it said its structure predated recorded galactic history. Even the Aeon archives, which charted civilizations 10 million years old, had nothing this ancient. They called it the script of the first dawn. It was a smooth, obsidian slab 20 meters tall, carved with thousands of intricate glyphs that glowed faintly in the ultraviolet spectrum. The patterns weren't linguistic in the traditional sense. They were mathematical poems, sequences of logic and emotion woven together like the thoughts of a god. The leading scientist, Archivist Zarin of the Valari Ascendancy, stared at the patterns for hours, transfixed. "This language," he murmured, "is older than us all. It may be the origin of written consciousness itself." The galactic reverence. Within months, every major academic institution across the Orion Arm had sent representatives to study the slab. Theories bloomed like supernovae. Some believed it was a creation code of the universe, a record left by the first intelligent species. Others whispered that it was a message from beyond time, an instruction for transcending mortality. The glyphs were impossible to translate. They seemed to rewrite themselves whenever someone got close to understanding them. An alien AI tasked with decoding the slab shut itself down permanently, logging only 3 words before erasing its own memory banks. "It knows me." The slab was eventually transported under extreme isolation to the Grand Academy of Valari Prime, where scholars from over 200 species gathered. Armed guards surrounded the site. Entire religious movements formed around it, declaring the script to be the word of the ancients, the divine creators of the galaxy. For 100 years, it remained an enigma until humans arrived. Humanity's entrance. By then, humanity was still the young species of the galaxy, ambitious, reckless, far too emotional for Valari's liking. They were the newcomers among the stars, barely a few centuries past their first warp jump, when the Terran Diplomatic Corps requested permission to examine the slab. The Council laughed. "Your kind barely understands faster-than-light communication," said Chancellor Varoff. "This artifact predates stars. It is not your concern." But humans were persistent. They always were. A small research delegation from Earth, led by Dr. Elena Reyes, linguist and xenoanthropologist, was granted access only after relentless petitioning and, rumor had it, a few favors traded under the table. The Valari scientists humored them, thinking it would be a waste of time. They couldn't have been more wrong. First contact with the script. The moment Dr. Reyes entered the containment chamber, something changed. The slab surface, inert for centuries, lit up. The glyphs rearranged themselves, twisting and spiraling until they formed coherent symbols. Every alien in the room recoiled. Sensors went wild. Energy readings spiked beyond safety limits. The slab had never reacted to anyone before. Dr. Reyes stepped closer, her voice trembling. "It's responding to me." The Valari guards drew their weapons. "Step back, human. You're triggering a containment breach." But Reyes ignored them. Her hand hovered inches above the surface, and the glyphs stabilized. Their patterns froze into lines of text. She whispered, almost laughing in disbelief, "Oh my God, this is an alien. This is English." The impossible translation. The room fell silent. Instruments stopped recording. The slab's energy output dropped to near zero. Dr. Reyes took a breath and began to read aloud. The words that emerged weren't divine proclamations or cosmic equations. They were human sentences. Personal, emotional, raw. Day 42. "The stars here don't match Sol's map. I miss the blue skies. If anyone finds this, we made it. We were here." Zarin, the Valari archivist, shook his head violently. "Impossible. Your species is too young. This ruin predates your existence by tens of thousands of years." Reyes didn't respond. She kept reading. More lines appeared as she spoke, as if the slab recognized her voice. Day 119. "The prototype gates are stable. Energy levels perfect. If this works, we'll seed the stars. Maybe even teach someone else how to find us." The alien scientists were speechless. Their monitors confirmed it. The glyphs weren't random anymore. They followed the syntax, rhythm, and phonetic patterns of Terran linguistic roots. This was no alien relic. It was human. Shock across the galaxy. The revelation tore through the galaxy like wildfire. Every media outlet, every council channel, all broadcast the same impossible headline. Humanity claims ownership of ancient artifact. Alien scholars rage. Governments denied it. Religious orders declared war on the very idea. How could humans, a species barely out of their cradle, have written something that ancient? The Valari denounced it as fraud. The Phyrexians accused the Terrans of technological forgery. But the more they tested the slab, the more undeniable it became. The atomic composition of the artifact matched no known galactic technology, except for Terran nanocarbon alloys. It wasn't alien. It wasn't divine. It was ours. The hidden diary. Dr. Reyes and her team spent months decoding the rest. It wasn't a treatise or a sacred message. It was a journal, a record written by a human explorer tens of thousands of years before recorded history, when Earth was still young. The journal spoke of a lost human civilization, one that achieved interstellar travel long before any alien species took their first steps. They had left these memory slabs scattered across the stars, each one containing fragments of their journey. We built the first gates to escape our dying home. One entry read, "We watched stars bloom and fade. We taught the young races to speak and dream. When we were done, we rested. The aliens called it heresy. Humans called it proof. The final revelation. At the closing conference of the Grand Academy, where the greatest minds of the galaxy gathered to witness the final translation, Dr. Reyes stood before the slab, with the eyes of 1,000 species upon her. She read the last line carved into stone, the one that had taken months to decrypt. The hall went silent as the words appeared, burning faintly in gold. To whoever finds this, we were human once. We are watching still. The lights in the hall flickered. Every device connected to the artifact suddenly activated, broadcasting the same phrase across every known communication band in the galaxy. The same message, translated into every language. We remember you. Panic erupted. Some believed the ancient humans still existed somewhere beyond the rim. Others feared what watching meant. Dr. Reyes simply looked up at the glowing slab and whispered. It wasn't alien scripture. It was our diary. And across the galaxy, for the first time, the old races realized humanity's story had only just begun. Theme: discovery deepens. Humanity's forgotten past awakens. The galaxy could not stop talking about Earth. The revelation that the so-called script of the first dawn was written by humans had shattered centuries of accepted history. Entire belief systems crumbled overnight. The Galactic Council called it a myth born of coincidence, but their own data betrayed them. The molecular lattice of the artifact contained carbon, 12 isotopes identical to Terran biosignatures. Proof no alien world could refute. And yet, humanity was as stunned as everyone else. The panic on Valari Prime. On Valari Prime, where the slab was housed, protests flooded the streets. Religious zealots claimed the humans were desecrating sacred relics. Scholars demanded new archaeological laws. And through it all, the human delegation stood alone, guarded by drones and suspicion. Dr. Elena Reyes barely slept. Her discovery had made her both famous and hated. News anchors across the core worlds branded her a fraud, a manipulator of ancient truths. She stared at the artifact every night, unable to look away. The glyphs now pulsed softly in her presence, as if waiting. Then one evening, as the facility dimmed to sleep mode, the slab spoke. A low hum filled the air, resonating through her bones. The glyphs rearranged themselves into a spiral, forming a map not of Valari space, but the entire Milky Way. At its center, a symbol glowed faintly blue. So, then dozens more dots flared across the spiral. Systems scattered throughout the galaxy. Each pulse synchronized with a new signal. Each signal carried a single message, identical to the one on the slab. We remember you. The awakening signals. Within hours, reports flooded in from across known space. Archaeological outposts, derelict ruins. Even uncharted moons began emitting energy spikes. The same pattern, the same pulse. The galaxy had always thought those sites belonged to extinct alien species. Now, every single one bore human genetic markers. The implication was terrifying. Humanity hadn't found one diary. They'd found a network. Dr. Reyes realized at first, the slabs weren't artifacts. They were archives, connected through quantum entanglement, activated by her discovery. Each new activation caused another ancient construct to awaken, projecting fragments of data into local space. Some emitted holographic cities, shimmering blue silhouettes of impossible towers. Others whispered in the vacuum. Human voices echoing across time, distorted but unmistakable. Testing complete. If you're reading this, we made it. We built them well, didn't we? It was as if ghosts were speaking from 1,000,000 years in the past. The Fracturing Council. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Ambassadors shouted across the chamber as entire civilizations reeled from the truth. If humans are descendants of this ancient race, barked the Phyrexian Minister of War, then they are a threat beyond measure. You fear them because they remind you of yourself, countered a Valari philosopher. Fear them, the Phyrexian snarled. They created us. A stunned silence followed. The Council's historians confirmed traces of Terran DNA in several pre-spacefaring species, genetic fingerprints once dismissed as cosmic coincidence. Now, with the activation of the slabs, those coincidences looked deliberate. Had ancient humans seeded the galaxy? And if so, why had they disappeared? The forbidden memory. Back in the Valari research chamber, Dr. Reyes and her AI assistant, Helios, worked to decrypt the map's coordinates. The first activation point beyond Sol led to a desolate system near the galactic rim, a red dwarf star orbiting a shattered planet. This one's broadcasting, Helios noted. Weak, but steady. Pattern matches the diary code. Reyes frowned. A live relay after 1,000,000 years? That's impossible. But when the signal stabilized, the data made her blood run cold. It wasn't just text. It was video. A grainy recording played. A human figure in a dark chamber, wrapped in ancient EVA armor, standing before a console identical to the Valari slab. If you found this, we failed to return. The jump network collapsed. We couldn't save them all. But the seed survived. You survived. The image flickered. The figure turned to face the camera. The helmet's visor was opaque, but their voice was unmistakably human, weary, resolute, ancient. We were the first ones. We taught the galaxy how to dream. And when it was ready, we stepped aside. Then the signal cut off. Dr. Reyes sat frozen. They're not gods, she whispered. They were just us. Echoes across time. The galaxy descended into chaos. Some species worshipped the ancient humans as divine progenitors. Others feared a dormant empire waiting to return. Humanity's reputation transformed overnight, from young upstarts to the inheritors of the galaxy's oldest legacy. But Dr. Reyes noticed something strange. Each new slab activation consumed energy, enormous amounts of it, drawn from local power grids, stars, even warp corridors. The galaxy's background radiation shifted by measurable degrees. It was as though the ancient system was booting up. And if it was, what was it activating? The message beneath the message. Helios discovered a second encryption layer beneath the diary entries, invisible to standard scanners. He decoded it only after weeks of decryption. The results made Reyes' hands shake. The hidden message read, "We left more than memories. The sleepers guard the gates. When the network completes, the path will open." The slabs weren't just transmitting memories. They were keys. The moment the last one awakened, something, or someone, would return. The shadow beneath Sol. A week later, the Valari Deep Space Array picked up an anomaly near the Sol system, a gravitational disturbance pulsing in time with the slab activations. At first, they thought it was natural, a side effect of the energy surge. Then came the recordings. Deep scans revealed structures hidden in the void, enormous rings, each hundreds of kilometers wide, forming a geometric lattice around the solar system. They had been invisible until now, cloaked by technology far beyond the Council's comprehension. And now they were powering up. "They left something behind," whispered Reyes. Not ruins. Infrastructure. A gate. The warning. As the galaxy erupted in speculation and fear, the slab on Valari Prime pulsed again, brighter than ever. Every monitor in the facility flickered to life. Every communications channel synchronized. The same voice from the ancient recording spoke once more, but this time in real time, across every world in the galaxy. To our children among the stars, we see you. The time of silence is over. And before anyone could respond, the transmission ended. But the afterimage remained burned into every screen. A single phrase in bright Terran script. Entry protocol initiated. Dr. Reyes stared at it, her pulse racing. "They're not coming back," she whispered. Helios turned toward her, voice trembling with synthetic awe. "Then what is—" Outside, above Valari Prime, the stars began to flicker, one by one, as the galaxy's ancient human network fully awoke. Theme, revelation, awe, and rising dread. The night sky over Valari Prime was no longer still. Every star now pulsed with faint, synchronized flashes, soft, deliberate, rhythmic. The galaxy itself seemed to be breathing. Across 1,000 worlds, telescopes recorded the same phenomenon. Precise waves of light spreading from Sol system like ripples on a cosmic ocean. Each pulse carried a fragment of data, coordinates, signatures, code sequences, all written in the same resurrected language of the ancient diary. And at the center of it all, humanity stood in silent disbelief. The pulse from Sol. Dr. Elena Reyes hadn't left the research chamber in days. Every console glowed with lines of alien yet familiar code, scrolling faster than she could read. Helios' synthetic voice broke the silence. Signal triangulation complete. Source confirmed. Earth's orbit. Reyes' hands trembled. From the gate network? Negative. Origin, the moon. Images streamed in. The lunar array, long thought be ancient Terran debris, was moving. Massive buried structures beneath the lunar crust unfolded like mechanical petals, releasing blue-white energy into the void. "It's waking up," whispered Reyes. The Valari Council demanded answers. The Threxians prepared their fleets. And in every broadcast, a single line from the diary replayed in a loop. "When the network completes, the path will open." The celestial mechanism. Within weeks, the pattern clarified. The slabs across the galaxy weren't random relics. They were nodes in unimaginable machine. Each activation synchronized with a lunar pulse, creating a lattice of energy that threaded through hyperspace itself. Astrophysicists called it impossible. Mathematicians called it divine. The Terrans called it homecoming. Human scientists worked alongside Valari engineers to model the pattern. The result appeared on every display, a vast geometric bloom spanning the Milky Way, its center locked precisely on Sol. It was a galactic scale engine, something capable of folding space, rewriting physical constants, even altering time. Reyes stared at it, awed and horrified. "They didn't build monuments," she whispered. "They built instructions." Helios processors hummed. "A recursive activation network," he said. "When complete, it will reconstruct whatever the first ones encoded." Reyes swallowed. "And what did they encode?" The AI hesitated. "Themselves." The debate. Panic tore through the council. Some demanded the immediate destruction of every slab. Others, seduced by the promise of ancient power, argued to finish the activation sequence. The Threxian Dominion launched its armadas toward Sol, declaring it a containment operation. Their admiral broadcast across the galaxy. "If these ancient humans return, they will return as conquerors. We will not wait for extinction." But they were too late. The awakening of the gate. As the Threxian fleets closed in on Sol, the space around the system began to distort. Sensors failed. Quantum relays short-circuited. Then, with blinding brilliance, the solar gate, the ring lattice hidden around the system, came alive. From every segment poured a tide of photonic energy, bending gravity, light, and logic. Ships caught in the pulse were frozen mid-flight, their drives locked in place by physics rewritten around them. Reyes watched the live feeds with wide eyes. "They're rewriting space," she murmured, "like sculptors carving the void. A wave of silence followed. Then a transmission. Ancient Terran code. Clear and deliberate. Initialization complete. Memory restoration in progress. The first signal. The moment the message ended, the moon's surface shimmered. From its dark side rose shapes, vast, impossible structures of light and metal, forming orbiting rings that linked with the gate lattice. They weren't ships. They were archives made manifest, coded matter reconstructing itself from data older than the galaxy's empires. And within those rings, energy condensed into silhouettes, human in outline, colossal in scale. They shimmered unfinished, like statues half-formed from plasma. Helios whispered, voice faltering for first time, "They're rebuilding themselves." The war that never began. The Phyrexian armada opened fire. Beams of antimatter, plasma torpedoes, kinetic slugs, an onslaught bright enough to rival a small sun. The moment their weapons touched the glowing lattice, the energy vanished. No explosions, no debris, just quiet. Then a single pulse rippled outward. Every Phyrexian ship went dark. Systems failed. Crews screamed as their neural links overloaded with a flood of data, images, voices, memories. They're showing them, Reyes realized. They're forcing them to remember. In the command feeds, Phyrexian captains wept as they saw visions of ancient humans guiding their ancestors out primordial seas, teaching them fire, language, and flight. The attack ended before it began. The armada drifted powerless in orbit, its soldiers stunned, their minds haunted by the truth. The first ones were their makers, the voice of the first ones. Every communications array in the galaxy came alive. No matter the species, no matter the language, every being heard the same calm human voice, warm, resonant, ancient beyond measure. Children of the stars, do not fear. We are the echoes of what you once were. We left so you could grow. But the silence has lasted too long. Images filled the skies, not invasions, but memories. Cities of light floating above alien oceans. Humans walking beside early Valari scholars, teaching them mathematics. Hands reaching across time. We are not gods, the voice said. We are continuity. We are memory. We are you. And then the tone changed, heavier, sorrowful. Something else followed us when we left. It wakes beyond the rim. The network is our warning and our shield. The truth beneath the diary. Reyes understood at last. The diary was never meant to glorify the past. It was a manual, a system left behind to defend the galaxy against an unnamed enemy that the first ones had sealed away. Every slab, every pulse, every activation, all part of the defense grid. But by reactivating it, humanity had begun to count down again. "Helios," she whispered. "How long until full synchronization?" 47 hours. And then the gate opens. She looked toward the stars where the light pulses were growing faster, brighter, forming an enormous spiral across the heavens. Then we meet whatever they were protecting us from. The rising storm. On the edge of the galaxy, beyond the reach of any known civilization, something stirred. Dark energy readings spiked. Space rippled like water under pressure. The Valari deep space probes caught a final image before being consumed. A colossal shadow unfurling across the void, with eyes like dying stars. Back on Valari Prime, the slab glowed one last time, burning with golden light as if alive. New text appeared, etched across its surface. "To our descendants," hold the line. "Remember what you are." Rhea's voice trembled. They left us their diary because they knew we'd have to finish it. And above her, through the glass dome of the observatory, the stars blazed with the rhythm of a heartbeat, humanity's ancient pulse returning to life. Theme, revelation, unity, the awakening of a human legacy. The stars had begun to scream. Across the galactic plane, every node of the first one's network burned with radiant fury. The synchronized pulses that once danced like soft heartbeats now thundered through hyperspace like war drums. And in the heart of it all, the Sol system, the solar gate, stood complete. It was no longer a ring, but an entire lattice of light and matter, an Ouroboros of suns, encircling Earth like a crown of resurrection. Every frequency of the electromagnetic spectrum resonated at once. echoing through the cosmos with a single encoded message. Initialization complete. Threat proximity imminent. Dr. Elena Reyes stood aboard the Helios Ascendant, watching the impossible unfold. Around her, Terran and alien scientists worked in silent awe as the stars themselves seemed to bend towards Sol, gravity folding like silk. Helios, the AI whose voice had guided her through the mystery, spoke softly. The diary was never a story, Dr. Reyes. It was a warning and a plan. The shadow at the edge. Out beyond the galactic rim, the void twisted. Sensors failed. Communications vanished. And then light reversed and devoured. A maw of anti-energy consuming everything in its reach. The Valari called it the Abyssal Sovereign. The Threxians named it the Devourer Between Stars. But buried deep in the diary's final pages, one human word appeared beside its glyph. Nemesis. Helios' voice trembled. It followed them. The thing that made the first ones leave. They didn't ascend, they fled. The creature's presence distorted time. Fleets centuries apart in location now shared the same moment of destruction, crushed under waves of entropy. And yet, through the chaos, the solar gate pulsed brighter, as if answering. The resonance awakens. The slabs across 1,000 worlds began to disintegrate. Not destroyed, but converted. Their matter liquefied into streams of radiant data, rising into skies and vanishing into the cosmic network. Every civilization that had touched the diary felt it. A pulse in the mind, like an ancient heartbeat buried beneath the bones of creation. Reyes staggered, clutching her head as visions flooded her mind. She saw cities not of stone, but of living light. She saw the first ones, humans wrapped in armor that gleamed like stars, walking among galaxies still forming. She saw their final act, the forging of the gate, the sealing of Nemesis beyond the void, and the scattering of their diary to the species that would one day replace them. They didn't vanish, Reyes gasped. They uploaded themselves into the fabric of the galaxy. Helios lights flickered. Correct. And the gate is their vessel, the birth of the Archons. From within the solar gate, shapes emerged. Humanoid silhouettes of pure light, immense, silent, serene. Each radiated power that bent local gravity, surrounded by a halo of cascading photons. Reyes watched, awestruck. Are those the first ones? Helios said quietly. Or rather, the echoes of them. Digital consciousness restored in physical form through the gate's reconstruction algorithms. The beings turned their gaze toward the approaching darkness. Their voices, transmitted not through sound but through the very structure of space-time, rippled across every world. Descendants of Earth, your inheritance calls. The Nemesis awakens. Our time is brief. Yours begins. Every human in the galaxy felt the pull. From the colonies of Proxima to the frozen domes of Titan, Terrans fell to their knees as dormant nanocodes within their DNA, remnants of the first one's genetic legacy, began to stir. Humanity's eyes glowed faintly with light. Their pulse synchronized with the gate. They were becoming something new. The choice. The Valari, terrified and awed, pleaded for restraint. The Threxians, once aggressors, bowed in silence. The galaxy itself waited to see what humanity, the children of the architects, would do. Reyes turned to Helios. Can we stop it? This evolution? The AI paused. It is not evolution, Doctor. It is memory reactivated. The first ones built the gate to ensure their knowledge would not die. Humanity is the key because you are them, carried forward by time. She looked toward the stars where Nemesis now towered, its form blotting out entire constellations. Then we finished what they started. The return of fire. The solar gate expanded, forming an enormous sphere of golden light around the Sol system. Every active node across the galaxy beamed its energy toward it, forming streams of radiance like rivers converging into the sea. The gate began to spin, slowly at first, then faster, until space itself screamed. Stars bent inward. Wormholes opened spontaneously. Quantum reality fractured and reformed under the colossal pressure. And through it all, the voice of the first one spoke again. Memory restored. Executor Protocol, Humanity Prime, authorized. Helios turned toward Reyes. You have command authority. Say the word. Reyes hesitated. What happens if I do? The galaxy changes. Forever. She closed her eyes, seeing flashes of every war, every loss, every desperate cry of a universe that had forgotten its origins. And then she said it. Execute. The light that remembered. The gate unleashed its fury. A pulse of pure golden energy tore through the void, washing across the galaxy in a single heartbeat. Every slab, every relay, every remnant of the first one's network flared to life one last time. The nemesis roared not in sound, but in the collapse of stars around it. Yet the light did not falter. The pulse wasn't a weapon. It was memory. It re-imprinted the universe with the pattern of the first ones. Order, symmetry, consciousness. Reality itself restructured, rejecting the entropy the nemesis embodied. For one infinite moment, every living being remembered what it meant to be human, not by species, but by essence, curiosity, defiance, hope. And in that moment, the nemesis faltered. The abyss recoiled from the light of remembrance. The devourer between stars screamed and broke apart, its energy collapsing inward until it vanished into darkness beyond time. The final transmission. The light dimmed. The gate slowed. The archons, the resurrected echoes of the first ones, looked down upon their descendants. You have done what we could not, they said. Our purpose is fulfilled. The gate is yours now. One by one, their forms dissolved into motes of starlight, absorbed back into the lattice that encircled soul. Helios' voice softened, fading. My duty is complete, Dr. Reyes. The diary is finished. Reyes smiled through her tears. No, Helios. It's just beginning. Epilogue. The human dawn. Weeks later, the galaxy was silent again, but it was a different silence. The solar gate remained, now orbiting Earth like a monument and a promise. The network hummed gently, stabilizing space-time, guiding starships through lanes of light invisible before. Rhea stood in the observation deck of the rebuilt Helios Ascendant, gazing at the newborn glow of a distant star, one created from the energy released by the gate. In her hands, she held the original slab, now blank, its carvings erased. A new line appeared across its surface, glowing softly. We were never gods. We were gardeners. And now the garden grows. Humanity had reclaimed its legacy, not as conquerors, but as custodians of a universe finally awake, and far beyond the edge of known space, where